We've had a great global economy for many years now, but folks are saying we could be on the verge of a recession, and a lot of small business owners are panicking. In this video, I'm going to give every business owner 2 tips that you should be taking right away to prepare for the next recession. Hi guys, I'm Andrew Henderson. If you want to learn more about Nomad Capitalist and what we do, you can go to nomadcapitalist.com and find out how we work with and help and inspire business owners all around the world to go where they're treated best. And those 5 magic words, as I call them, are at the crux of what I think is the best way to prepare for the next recession. Now, we're not going to talk about you personally as much in this video. I want to focus on business owners. I ran a number of small businesses in the United States. I sold a couple in my earlier years in business. And so I understand small business. I have a lot of friends who are in small business all over the world. And when the recession comes, times are tough. Now, the first thing that I want you to do is to think globally. I want you to think, how can I diversify? Now, I understand the importance of not being everything to everyone, right? The example that we always give on my team is the example of the In-N-Out hamburger restaurant in the Western United States. They have so few menu items, it's just so easy to know what to order. You can make a decision quickly, and they don't have to stock a lot of stuff, right? I think that's a good business strategy. You don't want to have 19 different business lines in a growing business. But if you can think, let's say right now you're only doing business selling software, for example, within your own country. Let's say you're in Australia, and you've only been targeting that market with networking and with Facebook ads and stuff like that. You know, how can you sell that software to other countries? How can you open up? Because yes, a lot of recessions have increasingly become global, but what I found is there are always pockets of opportunity. And so if you're tied to one geography, that is going to be more of an issue and more of a risk than if you're open to a lot of different places. One thing that we did last year, largely by popular demand, was we said, we're going to put a big enough team in place to do all the work necessary and do all the research to be able to help folks from a greater number of countries. For the longest time, we only helped folks from the US and Australia and Canada and the big Western countries. Now we've started opening up to a lot more people because we hired more team to lay the groundwork. And I think that is one way that we have made ourselves a bit more resistant to what may be happening in one country, is to be able to say, well, if the United States is slow, maybe there are some places in the Gulf region or in Eastern Europe or in Asia that are picking up, and when people are ready to spend money, that's a good thing that you can do. But the second thing that you should be doing to prepare for a recession, I think, is the most important, and that is to reduce risk. The biggest risk that I see small business owners having is they have high costs. And what I see when times are good is business owners don't know their numbers. If you watch Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, you know a lot of business owners don't know their numbers. They don't know where they're spending money. You know, one thing that I do, and I'm not saying we're 100% perfect in this, but I think we're pretty good, is I'm always having different people on my business team, you know, look at credit card bills and making sure, and, you know, what's being charged? What are we paying for? You know, I don't like to cheap out. I like to pay good people what they're worth. But, you know, sometimes you go through there and you find a piece of software you needed once 2 years ago and you forgot to cancel it. Okay, you need to reduce costs. Now, you know, canceling a $79 a month SaaS subscription probably isn't going to save your business. But there are 2 things that can. Number one, reducing your taxes. Business owners are paying 40 and 50% tax rates in the Western world. For the privilege of, when times get bad, the government comes out and they'll offer you a $5,000 stimulus, or they'll exempt you from paying payroll tax for 90 days. You're paying a fortune, and in return, you're not getting a lot. And so, you know, if your business makes $50,000, maybe that's not as important to you. But if your business is making hundreds of thousands or millions or tens of millions of dollars, the taxes that you're paying just aren't coming back to you in terms of services. And so moving your business offshore, using what I call my tax-friendly quadrant, can give you more money to save. I know business owners in tough times where you'll call them 30 days into a market downturn and they'll be laying their staff off because in the good times they were putting everything back into growing the business because their biggest business partner was the government. they had to pay the government a big chunk of their profits, and then only after that could they reinvest in their business. And so by the time they paid taxes and reinvested, they couldn't save, they couldn't prepare, they couldn't be able to handle a downturn. If you legally reduce your tax rate to 0 or 5% or even 10% for a lot of you, you can start to have a totally different perspective where some of that money gets saved and you can be your own rainy day fund. You don't have to rely on the government to come in with a stimulus program, and you can do the right thing by your team members. What we saw in our business at the beginning of the coronavirus market panic, now our business actually kept growing during that. But what I said was, we have a good cash position because we have a very low effective tax rate, and so we're going to do the right thing by our team members. We're not laying anyone off. That's what we're doing. And then, by the way, it's the right thing for me as the business owner because we're going to come back when the market comes back, and we're not going to have to staff back up and train people again. That's one of the best things you can do. The other thing when it comes to team members is consider either hiring new team members or replacing some current team members that aren't performing overseas. One thing I've talked to Western business owners about quite frequently is how they feel like they're not getting the value for their money, especially folks in Australia, but really all over the world. A lot of these Western countries have high minimum wage laws. Politicians only want to make them higher. The United States and other countries are imposing more and more strict rules on contractors, so they're pushing you into a system where your costs are going to go up in hiring there. There's more regulatory burden, there's more paperwork, there's more risk of litigation and all kinds of stuff. If you go and hire overseas in some of the countries we talk about, the Armenias, the Serbias, the Ukraines, the Philippines, and there are others, Egypt, Venezuela even actually, we've had some pretty good people from there. If you go and hire in those places, the laws are more flexible because they want you to bring your money. They want you to hire people, and you can pay a lot less. You can often get people who have a whole different mindset, less of an entitlement mindset. People in the Western world sometimes say, I wish my team members didn't have this entitlement mindset. Not all of them, but I've heard that sometimes. And you can go to places and you can alleviate those issues, and you can pay 1/5, 1/4, 1/3 as much as you would pay where you live. And that could also be the precursor to some tax benefits depending on your strategy. Okay? So both of those things together allow you to lower costs. Okay? I have a team all around the world. I happen to love our team all around the world. I will take them over a team where I'm from, any day of the week. And it happens to cost less. Our tax rate is low, and so therefore we can save up cash so that in good times we can be reinvesting in stuff. We can have more lifestyle benefits. We're throwing parties for the team. We're running a good business. But when things get tough, our risk has been reduced. Most business owners have too much risk, and you can eliminate risk by reducing costs. When you reduce costs, if you have debt, you can pay that debt off because debt is also risk. You want to get rid of that debt. And so if you think globally and if you reduce costs and risk, you will be better positioned than almost any business out there. You'll be able to weather any storm. Those are things that if I'm in business, I'm going to be putting in place immediately. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.